All right, well, let's get to football here, Armando. So the Dolphins they've done a lot, and so have the Bills, by the way, since we last spoke, which was during the regular season, I'm sure. Both teams will have new coaches. Why don't we start there when it comes to the Dolphins? What do you think of their move?
Well, so look, Nick Saban used to have a favorite saying, which was, whatever your history is, that's what you're likely to be going forward. And the history of Dolphins hires as far as head coaches under current ownership, Stephen Ross, has been pretty terrible. And so terrible that they haven't won a playoff game since Stephen Ross became the owner of the team in 2009. He inherited the AFC East winning Miami Dolphins, who won the AFC East in 2008, and he's been over ever since. And it's now 2026. The last time the Dolphins won a playoff game was in December of 2000. So I would say to you that there's a little bit of skepticism about Jeff Hafley.
Okay.
He has to prove himself. It's not like, welcome to, the great days of the Miami Dolphins. It's, let's see what you got. I think that's what the fan base is feeling right now, and I think that's fair. Because, again, what have you done for us lately, Miami Dolphins? Well, the fans are saying not a whole lot.
Is there much question in your mind that they're going to find their way clear of Tua Tagovailoa this offseason at some point? It sure sounds like that to me from a distance, but I know you've always followed it much more closely than I would, but it seems like that's just the next shoe to drop, isn't it?
So they're going to the Combine, which starts next week, hoping to find a trade partner for Tua. Are the Miami Dolphins going to find a trade partner for Tua? No, they're not. Because, frankly, Tua kind of fell off the table last year. He got benched by the guy that really supposedly believed in him, Mike McDaniel. He was among the NFL leaders in interceptions. And it's problematic when you are trying to reboot that you've got a quarterback that you're paying a lot of money to. There is $99 million in dead cap hit for Tua Tagovailoa if the Dolphins release him. Less so if they trade him, but still no one's going to do that. And he's making or will make $56 million guaranteed that no one wants to pay in 2026. So it's a rough situation for the Dolphins, and that alone means that they are in full-on rebuild mode.
I think when we talked around the time of that deal getting made with Tua, that your feeling was that this is a bad idea. And you'll certainly set me straight if I'm wrong there. It always seemed to me like they were kind of damned if they did and damned if they didn't. I mean, Miami was a little bit too good, you could say, to break from their quarterback, and he was such expensive draft capital, but it seemed like one of those examples where then Josh Allen showed up to make things worse. Just what are the odds that this is going to work out? Do I have it close?
100%. And I remember we talked about there's 3 quarterback situations for an NFL team. And the first is you've got a rookie quarterback, and he's on his rookie contract, and you're figuring out if he's good or not. And whether he is or isn't, he's not getting paid, exorbitant amount of money and taking up an exorbitant amount of cap space. You've got a veteran guy in his 5th year or 4th year, and you give him a big contract because you're sold that he is good, and forward you go. And then you've got a veteran guy in his 4th year or 5th year that you pay, like he's good, and he turns out not to be good. And of all those three, the last one is the worst that you could possibly have. You can overcome and you can win with the first two. You are doomed if you have a high-priced, bad quarterback on your roster. And, you know, there's a couple of teams that have that going on right now. Kyler Murray is right there, and you can argue whether he's bad or just not good enough. And obviously Tua as well, and Kirk Cousins, and to a lesser degree, Justin Fields, who will be cut by the Jets.
Is there anything, as you look back at, you know, preparing for Tua to not be on Miami anymore, that you could say in his defense, like he got, like, what disadvantages did he have? Like, was there a deck stacked against him in any way that you see that he didn't get every opportunity to prove that he was worth the money?
No. I mean, I'm sorry.
Yep.
No, because previously the excuse or the reason was, well, he got hurt. Okay, so he had the concussions, or he had, you know, the shoulder or the hand or the ankle or whatever other number of injuries Tua has had. And that's the reason he wasn't fully able to just, you know, have a breakout year. And it was always, well, this year he'll have the breakout year if he stays healthy. Well, last year he stayed healthy, and he just wasn't able. And it looked like at times that, I don't know, the arm just disappeared. And then the processing and reading of defenses disappeared. And then, you know, I don't know what happened, and he didn't trust his offensive line. And all those things, one after another, led to him being benched by a head coach who was, you know, trying to win games to save his job. And that guy turned to Quinn Ewers, a 7th-round draft pick, rookie. And he thought that guy gave him a better chance than Tua.
With Armando Salguero, well, the Dolphins are a pretty obvious case for a team that would make these changes with all the, you know, years without playoff wins like you laid out and everything else. The Bills are not so obvious in this way, but they made a coaching change too. What do you think of what they did?
I understand the move. I didn't like the reasoning. I went into the locker room and saw guys' faces and saw Josh Allen crying. That explanation, what?
Yeah.
That's not the reason that you fire a head coach, I don't think. I understand if ownership, if the Pagulas decided, you know what, we've done this 9 years now or whatever it's been, and we just can't get over the hump, and the guy who is leading us has not gotten us over the hump, and many times in the games where we haven't gotten over the hump, it's the defense that has hurt us, like in the last 13 seconds, and he's a defensive-minded coach, and so we just need to try something different. That I would understand and get. That makes sense. But we went into the locker room, and I stood in front of Josh Allen, and it looked bad. That doesn't make sense.
I think we both think it's a cover story, Armando.
Yeah.
You know, like, because we both agree with that, right? That's like you wouldn't want to make that decision that way.
Yep.
But signs exist that they knew it was coming, and Bulldog was very keen to certain comments Sean McDermott made as the season went along that might have sounded like he was poking at management for who was or wasn't on the team. We had fun the week of the Jacksonville game with how many times he kept mentioning how good Jacoby Myers was. Like, you know, here was a player that the Bills maybe he thought they should have had on their own team,
right,
that was traded to Jacksonville. So I don't know. I'm not trying to speak for Chris.
No,
but
absolutely right.
it seemed like maybe I didn't expect it, so I didn't know it was coming, but maybe they did.
Well, so not to look, when they lost that game to Denver, and Sean McDermott complained bitterly about the call and the officiating and stuff like that, I wrote at Outkick, this protest sounds a lot like he knows something is coming.
Yeah,
exactly.
And I think he said it. I'm standing up for Buffalo.
Yes.
And then he's calling a reporter from the plane to have another bite at the apple.
Yes.
He does protest a lot.
Yeah.
And it sounded to me, and I wrote it, like this is a guy who, he's representing his team, but he's trying to save himself. And I got the feeling that he understood that he was, on the proverbial firing line.
Yeah, we host post-game after these games for a couple hours, Armando, and we aired his official, like his first, his meeting with the media after the game. And he complained then, but it didn't set off an alarm to me until I learned what you just referred to. Sunday morning when I woke up, I learned that he had called Jay Skursky from the Buffalo News, was the pool reporter for the game, and went longer and harder on the officiating. And that's the first time I thought he might know he's in trouble, because it just seemed like very out of character for him. Not to stand up for Buffalo, but to go that hard about the officiating. And there was a lot. I mean, I think, Allen's emotion even could be a part of that, like a clue to me that there was a vibe around the team that they sensed that if we don't get this done, there's going to be big changes here. And I don't know, not for nothing. I still wonder. I mean, Josh Allen's their quarterback, and he's been at the news conference to announce the new coaching hire and was involved in the interview process. I wondered how he liked being used that way by Pagula in the news conference. I saw my quarterback sad, so I fired my coach. I don't know. I'd feel a little kind of done over if I were Allen. That's just me, though.
I appreciated that Allen, one of the first things he said was, you know what, I feel responsible for having Sean McDermott fired. And look, over the years, he's not responsible, okay? He's one of the best players in the NFL. Next sentence, move on to something else. But that day, he wasn't.
Right.
5 turnovers is bad. I appreciated him taking responsibility. I appreciated the candor. I think it speaks well of Josh Allen. The fact that he felt bad about it speaks well of Josh Allen, and it really does kind of fly against whatever rumors may have been out there that, Josh Allen had anything to do with the undoing of Sean McDermott.
Well, we'll see what happens next year in this division. The Bills were taken down by New England, which went to the Super Bowl, of course, and, just fell flat against Seattle. But you've got a Miami team whose win total is 4.5. There's a reset there. The Jets have been the Jets for so long. I always like references, Armando, and this is not personal. I'm not hating on the Dolphins by this, but from our conversations, the reference to their last playoff win, that's the Lamar Smith game. If you go back to 2000, that season, he went for 209 yards on 40 carries. I mean, will that happen again? 40 carries? I mean, it's so rare. Overtime game, but still. And then the next week they went to Oakland. You may have been there. And Smith against the Raiders went 8 for 5.
Right.
8 for 5.
Tough.
Yeah. Look, the AFC East is a 2-team race at this point. The only way that the Dolphins are not going to be relevant in the AFC East, other than when they lose to teams. And so, I mean, it just is. It just is. They're in a full rebuild mode, and they're going to be bad. The Jets are the Jets, and the only way that they get good is if they hit on all their draft picks and they find a quarterback And, who knows who that might be. It may be a veteran. It may be a draft pick. I don't know who it's going to be. But Aaron Glenn knows his job is on the line. And so my guess is that he's going to try to move heaven and earth to win as many games as he can, and you don't do that with a rookie who may not be ready to start.
Yeah.
And then you have the two teams that matter, the AFC champs and the long time, up until this year, division champs. And it's going to be a fight like it was this year. And my guess is it's not good news for Buffalo because the Patriots have draft picks. They've got a quarterback.
Cap room.
And they've got cap space.
Right.
Yeah.
Lamar Smith.
And their coach is really good, by the way.
So it seems.
Yeah, I think. But they were the beneficiaries of a pretty lousy schedule, weak schedule. The playoffs, I've said a few times here, Armando, I don't recall a team getting to the Super Bowl having to do less in 3 playoff games than New England did on offense. Anyway, their defense was certainly stout, but, even that, Houston just couldn't wait to give them the ball. I wonder, they got here faster. I didn't think they'd be this good this fast. But I wonder if maybe a little step back isn't in order because of, the schedule point and how easy the playoffs kind of were.
So the Patriots played they played 8 out of the top 9 ranked defenses in the NFL last year, including the Super Bowl, and they lost 2 of those games. So you tell me.
Okay.
They may have played a quote-unquote easy schedule, but they played great defenses all year long, and they went to the Super Bowl.
Fair enough. I continue to sit here trying to force in one more Lamar Smith point, selfishly. he went, as I look, he went 8 rushes for 5 yards, but a long of 11.
Oh, my.
Awesome.
Pretty good. You got to love stats.
How do you do that?
A long of 11 in a game where he rushed for 5 yards. Armando, great to talk to you. Enjoy the rest of the Olympics and your offseason.
Go Bald Eagles. Beat those Golden Eagles.
Yes, National Birds topic as we continue through the day. We will have to do some research because I don't know any.